right, hello and welcome. How is everyone doing on what I hope is a fantastic Monday, February the 23rd, 2025? I thought I had time to do everything I wanted to do before we got the stream going, but I didn't. I didn't. Yeah, nice try, Shy, but I am only mostly confident that we have audio at this moment. But I am somewhat confident. But it was Jaloja. Jaloja was the problem. I didn't have time for it, but it was necessary. And
Uh,
I miss that show.
I do too. I wish it would come back.
No, February the 3rd. February the 3rd. And also, yes, audio is working just fine. Uh, Texans are getting too uppity? Never. Never. I would say the South would rise again, but that's like a very charged phrase and not at all what I
Ooh.
mean. Yeah, Texas pride is always like the first thing that came to mind was the South will rise again. It's such a catchy phrase. And like Matthew, think just one more second. That is not the phrase you want at this moment.
Welcome, Gorilla. And K. Roberts is saying no audio, just a bunch of talking heads.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that.
Gorilla clipping that totally out of context. What's worse, Gorilla, is that you're almost clipping it in context. I'm just that dumb sometimes.
Oh, you're not dumb.
Foolish? We'll go with foolish. I'll accept foolish.
Well, maybe. That's closer.
Well, it
Maybe
has.
silly.
Yeah, very, very often silly.
Free Keffer says positive. Hello, positive candor.
Is Kefir in jail? Is that why we don't see him in the episodes anymore?
I don't know. He may be in JMS's jail. I don't know.
When we get done with this season, I want to know all the backstory on Kefir and what happened there. Yeah, he's in section.
Well, wait. We can talk about that.
He's in section 31 secret missions. I don't think missions. So. Yeah.
He's too influential to be in that.
Okay, so hey, so I'm still just reeling by the fact I have repeatedly said Code of Honor is my favorite season 1 episode, and now I'm talking about the South and how it's going to rise, and yeah. Sorry, I'm allergic to my own stupidity sometimes.
Bless you.
Okay, so this week we are doing a Babylon 5 episode. Next week we're doing a Babylon 5 episode, but we're going to do it at a different time than usual. We're going to do it on Tuesday, so still 9 o'clock.
Oh. Also, not a different time, a different day.
Oh, I technically I would call that a different time.
Well, I suppose so. I guess it's wibbly wobbly.
A little bit. Yeah, we're moving to the hour of longing. Thank you, Texas. Okay, so a different day. Same time, different day. Fair enough. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. 9 Matthew time. Thank you, Thomas. But we're going to do it on Tuesday because on Wednesdays, I get to work from home. And so...
I wish I got to work at home.
Yeah, but I don't think you have a remote capable job.
No, I really don't.
We wish.
We need those books. Everybody needs books. Go to your library, check out some books.
We have a really good one next to our house. They built it up a couple years ago, like right when COVID happened, just before COVID happened, and it's phenomenal. It is designed specifically with kids in mind. So like the library I had when I was a kid, it was like 99% adult oriented and like a little small kids section. This is the exact opposite. They have an adult section, but it's like just so many kid books and it's wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think the foundation for the library should be for the kids because you need to get them to come in and keep coming in for the rest of their lives,
Yeah.
and then bring their kids in. So
Now, Josh is saying we can skip a week after next episode. Is that the end of the season next episode? No, we got two more
no,
left
2 more left. Yep.
after tonight. So
And
tonight and then
after,
2 more.
that's correct. Now, to be clear, after tonight's episode, it's going to stay on Tuesday nights. Is that correct?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Sundays are one of my busy days of the week. I wake up really early for church, go help them set up, and then spend the whole day just doing church related stuff. And then Monday, hit the ground hard, running hard. I don't hit the ground hard. I hit the ground running hard, and I get to the evening.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Hashtag groundbreaking.
Yes. And I'm just exhausted come Monday nights. So by Tuesday, I recovered a little bit, and then I work from home. So it's not that I get to sleep in per se, but at the same time, it's a lot less hectic Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, excuse me. So yeah, Tuesday night, I think this work better. And it works. Both nights are equally good with Jeff, so it was convenient for us to switch over.
Thursday nights is the bad night for me, so I asked to try to avoid that night. But yeah, Tuesday's fine.
I almost had a see if we could do it on Friday nights, but right before I asked, like this several weeks ago, I started thinking about this, and then we started doing the Wheel of Trek. I think started
Wheel of Trek, yes,
on Fridays.
it's on Friday nights.
I hesitated, and I do not want to interfere with Wheel of Trek. Go watch that.
Patrick would be distraught if we did that.
I would be distraught. Yeah. Go watch Wheel of Trek.
It's a good show. You should check it out. Now, Matthew, since we're going to Tuesday night starting next week, do you realize the date of that first Tuesday night? Do you know what it is?
I hadn't thought it was anything significant, but now that you're saying it.
February the 11th.
Okay.
1 year ago, on February the 11th, was our first Babylon 5 stream.
Was it really?
Yes. Now, of course, it was a Monday night.
Still.
Last year.
I totally planned it. 100% planned.
Yeah, I just wanted to see. You did.
Yeah, does anyone else recognize? I don't know, but no, that's cool.
Thomas wants you to play Wheel of Trek. We'd love to have you on the show.
We'll see. If you want nothing but wrong answers, I am more than willing to jump on and play Wheel of Trek. Now,
you'd get some right, I'm sure.
See, I'd get them right, but they'd be wrong. It'd be like, who was the admiral who presided over Kirk's hearing? And I'd respond with, I'm trying to think of an admiral off the top of my head, and I can only think Janeway, and that doesn't count.
Well, the good thing is you fill in the puzzle as you go, and then once you get it, then you solve the puzzle.
True. Oh, that's true.
So you'd see, partial words on the screen.
And that's true. I'm thinking Jep Nerdy.
There you go. Well, we'd love to have you on Jep Nerdy as well.
I did Jep Nerdy so long ago when Michael was doing it, and before you had the Jep Nerdy name, and we just so happened to be like I was going through a rewatch of TNG, and Michael was asking a bunch of TNG questions, and so I was able to knock it out of the park for that 1 week. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna go off on a high note.
If I remember correctly, there were some indications from people that they thought there was some collusion going on or something.
There were, yeah. There were indications of that. There was no collusion.
False accusations, folks.
100% false. It was so, like, he kept asking, like, what episode was this? And I had literally just been going through watching each and every one of these episodes. I'm like, you've got to swap it up a little bit, because he was just going in order. What's episode 2? What's episode 3? And like, I've literally just watched all this. Mix it up a little bit.
Of course, you were doing the Friday night movies with Salty back then, and there was a category for that too. So you were kind of clued in on that, or at least
I
you
think
should have been.
that was the what has Matthew gotten wrong this week category, basically.
Something like that. Yeah.
The Matthew impeachments category.
Of course. We'll need that. We need to do that on Jep Nerdy now.
This week on Babylon 5, Matthew got the following things wrong.
Anna says, Matthew, if she can solve Wheel of Trek puzzles, anyone can. And she does. She's won.
See, so wonderful moment there. I actually read that comment and I was getting to it, but I read it backwards. I read, if Matthew can solve Wheel of Trek puzzles, anyone can. I'm like, wow, we're that comfortable with each other. This is wonderful.
Oh, Thomas, you can solve them. He says anyone but him.
Okay, on Wheel of Trek stuff, or Wheel of Fortune in general, have you ever seen the clip of the young man, college guy, is about to make out like a bandit if he solves the puzzle? And it's a Greek instance, something about Greek mythology. It was the heel of Achilles. It was only the H missing.
I've not seen that one.
He said the heel of Achilles.
Oh.
Or Achilles' heel. And they didn't give it to him. They're like, no, sorry. That'd be me. Achilles' heel.
Well, I think Patrick would give it to you. Now, of course, Patrick is the host, so.
Yeah. Or I'd be like, it was Plato's Stepchildren. I think that was the episode name. You're confused. Is it Plato's Children?
Yes.
TOS episode. Moving along. So this week we are watching Babylon 5 season 2 episode 20.
20.
The long silent Twilight. With the comma.
No.
The long.
No. You're close.
The long.
This week, Matthew got wrong on Babylon. The long Twilight struggle.
The long Twilight struggle.
Yes.
I was Matthew close. I'll take it. The long Twilight struggle with an important comma between long and Twilight.
Yes.
Indicating that both adjectives are modifying Twilight. Struggle.
Yes. Struggle. Commas are important.
They are. It hurts me a little bit right here. So I upload the audio for our church, and it hurts me when I see them submit their lesson titles without the Oxford comma. I'm like, no, it lists of 3. You got to put that comma before and, or else you're grouping the last 2 things as one item together. It's important.
Exactly. I get so irritated when I see that.
Yeah, I know, Gorillas. The season can be more than 10 episodes. Yes. Crazy time. No, Omni, it's not debatable. Like, people debate it, but it's not debatable. Without that comma, you're indicating that these 2 things are one. Like, this is like theology is built on that comma across all denominations and religion. Like, it's important. The founding fathers, when they wrote
he's
stuff,
right about this.
When they wrote stuff in the Declaration of Independence, or excuse me, not the Declaration of Independence, I'm being stupid. When they wrote stuff in the Constitution, arguments have been won and fought based on commas. Like long judge rulings have come out because like this was written. Like they're very important. And not only are they extremely important, I once my ability to get things wrong has long preceded me being on YouTube. You're familiar with the game Taboo?
Yes, I think I played it a few times.
You got the word at the top that you're trying to get people to guess. and words underneath it
Right.
that you can't say, the taboo words. And if you say one of those words, bzz, they hit the buzzer.
Yep.
My word was comma. I thought it said coma. And so I start off and
Oh dear.
I said, this is a long period, duration, because you couldn't say period because period was too close to comma. And so
Right.
the
Right.
poor girl who was trying to buzz me was like, what, where is he going with this? And so someone finally guessed coma, and I go, yes, correct. I go to the next one, and she's dying in the corner. She's like, no, there's two M's, Matthew. There are two M's. I'm like, yeah, right. And there's 5 lights. I'm not buying it. Let's get some truth up in here.
Coma versus comma. That's right. K. Roberts.
Yeah, commas aren't the only important thing. Correct number of letters in a word, extremely important. I'm not sure what falling into a comma would be, but I think I'd prefer it over falling into a coma.
I agree. And I'm not going to repeat what Texas wrote. I'd be afraid that the channel might get shut down.
It's a classic example, though.
Indeed.
So, what was my prediction for this week?
So, Matthew's prediction was Jakar has been the one that has been struggling the most against the drawing of the night. This episode will focus on him with the ongoing difficulties he is facing and how he's trying to maneuver politically to help his own people and at the same time to fight the shadow creatures that he has been trying to warn people about as he is increasingly more aware of their presence. He has a war on 2 fronts, the physical war with the Centauri and the spiritual war as he perceives it against the shadow creatures. Then Kefir will show up and give some sage, spiritually and political advice and save the day.
Hashtag most influential, extremely important.
Indeed.
Good old Kefir. So let's go ahead and get this show going. The link to the screening room is already up in the chat, whichever way chats are these days. I think over there. Come join us if you can. It will have the video on it, syncs up our watch time, yada, yada, yada. If you can't join us, don't worry, we got you covered. There's going to be that stuff right there. There we go. That will have a no audio, only 1 image clip every 7 to 9 seconds. So you have some sort of frame of reference for what we're talking about. If you're here in the future and you want to watch the full video, sorry, screening room won't work for you. You got to have your own copy. You can get it on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free without ads. You can watch it for free with ads on services like Tubi TV. I get it wrong every time. It's not a Roku.
You got it right.
Yes,
very good.
Roku. Eventually, things stick. Probably just in time for Roku to lose their licensing for streaming it, but hopefully it's still there. So you can go to Roku, and of course you can go to the usual suspects like iTunes Store or Google Play, YouTube, whatever, and you can buy it there. My personal favorite and what I always recommend: get the physical media. You can get the Blu-ray from right there on Amazon, usually around $80. Sometimes a little bit cheaper. Highly recommend it.
I've not checked today, so I don't know what the price is.
It's always around there.
Yeah, give or take.
And back in the day, you could get it at Best Buy, but Best Buy got rid of their DVDs.
Ooh, it's down to $75.99 currently.
All right. That's all 5 seasons, including the pilot episode, but not the movies. Those are separate.
That's correct. And if you don't have a Blu-ray player, I've seen the DVDs at Walmart.
Okay, yeah.
It's the same set, just on DVD, and it's about $60.
Which means you're getting the 480 version, 40p instead of the 1080.
1080, yeah.
But hey, it's I think it's still worth it. I would much rather have a DVD copy over a digital copy any day of the week. But I also said South Rise Kid at the beginning of the stream. So what do I know? Let's go ahead and jump into this episode. I'll give you a quick 3 countdown if you're here in the future and want to sync up your watch times. So here we go, everyone. 3, 2, 1. Hit that play button. And again, hopefully there is no audio happening right now. I don't believe there should be anything. Yep, I think we're good.
Centauri Prime.
I know we've talked about this in the past, but I love the attention to detail they've given to each race and allowing them to reflect some sort of stage of human history and culture. And just the Roman French kind of attire they get into the Centauri. I love the way they pull in those little details. And so they're going over the fact that the prince slash emperor that they installed has been a very useful Manchurian candidate for them. And
Cartagia.
A good point from Londo, actually showing some remorse. They're saying, this is such important work. Your services have been noted, and Londo's like, yes, and it's already cost me the life of one friend. And so the Rifa is claiming that the war that began 6 months ago is about to end. And that Londo Morari, you will lead us to our victory. Oh, was that the guy on the planet? Yeah, and they're saying now we've seen an energy surge.
Yep.
Poor Ivanova. Every time you think you get a minute to yourself to relax, take a nice shower, nope. Someone's calling on the comms.
Guess again.
I greatly appreciate that. Just the inversion of the trope, you think it's gonna be the lady in the shower, but having it be the captain, much better.
Yeah, you'll notice he looks different.
I did. A little chubbier.
Younger.
So
they did have to recast it.
Okay. I was gonna ask him like, no, I'll just wait and find out. But I was wondering if this was gonna have an universe reason, like, oh yes, by being attached to the machine, it's rejuvenating him, such that.
Well, though, they will give that explanation. Now, did you recognize the actor?
I think I recognized his name when I was typing it in to the chat today.
Okay.
And I thought that was weird because the last time we saw that name, it was I forget who he played last time, but he's had several roles so far in Babylon 5.
Well, no, I don't think he's been in Babylon 5 up to this point. No? You may be thinking of another actor, but that's John Schuck.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different actor then.
And in Star Trek lots of times.
Okay.
He was a Klingon ambassador in Star Treks 4 and 6.
Oh.
He played a Cardassian in the Maquis Part 2, Leggett Parn.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, and so he actually points out that whenever this happened originally, it was Sheridan who was the captain.
Sinclair was the
Sinclair.
commander. Yeah.
That was an interesting episode because at that point in time, it was a struggle, or not, sorry, it was a three-way race to see who would end up being the protector of the planet between uh, Sinclair, Droll, and Londo. Excuse me.
Sheridan can't get a word in edgewise.
And so Droll is inviting Sinclair, Starkiller, to
Sheridan.
Sheridan to the planet. Come down, have some coffee, some tea, whatever takes your fancy. That was CG, wasn't it? The shot from the back.
Most of the effects on the show are CG.
This may have been the name that I was thinking of. This
W.
actor.
Morgan Shepherd.
Yes.
Yes.
That voice, you cannot mistake that voice. I say I can't mistake that voice, but I'm going to go out on a dangerous limb here. That voice is the voice of the Voyager episode with the Great Beast, was it not?
Yes. He was also the Klingon commandant on Ruapente, Star Trek 6.
Yes, the telepathic picture plant in space. Which, if I were to be maybe unfair toward Voyager or unfairly critical, I might say was a cheap derivative of a cornucopia from TOS.
He also played Ira Graves in TNG, Schizoid Man.
Wait, Schizoid Man. Schizoid Man?
Season 2, he takes over Data, basically.
He's dying at the beginning of the episode and uploads his
Yeah.
mind in it. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. His that's almost a cameo role with how short he was as himself on screen. So what they're going over right now is it's a war council meeting and just how bad it's going for the Narn. And just how the Narn people don't have the stomach for war, and that if they keep doing what they have been doing, the homeworld will soon fall. Right, so Jakar made a comment how I wish I was going with you, and I thought for sure that that he was going to respond, "Well, good news, your wish is granted."
Now, he also played the Soul Hunter in season
Oh
1.
yeah. And he says that your father would be very proud of you, Jakar, which You may recall Jakar's dad was cruelly killed when he accidentally spilled some hot tea on a Centauri mistress.
Yep.
And so Dolores comes out wanting to talk to him real quick and goes, I can't, I'm in a hurry. She goes, I know. He appeared to me as well. And he's, dumbfounded. He's like, shouldn't we keep going if you're in such a terrible hurry? And Josh is saying that he played the professor in Sequest 2031, episode 8. Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm going to need more detail than that. Wait a minute. They're doing a pale moonlight?
Not quite.
Or they're doing the Zimmerman letters? Uh-oh. Everything froze, it looks like.
Uh-oh.
There we go. That was weird. We froze for a second, but it looks like the stream kept going. Fine.
It You seem okay to me.
Okay, so this
On the
this is
page.
a great back and forth happening right now. That they are the Rifa, right?
Rifa.
Yeah. Rifa is describing not just subterfuge. So I mean that's the beginning of it. That they've set up some fake communiques for the Narn to intercept. They're going to get the Narn people, the Narn military, to leave the Narn homeworld defenseless on a fool's errand. Meanwhile, their fleet is going to come in and they're going to use mass drivers, which have been outlawed throughout the galaxy for every civilized race, and not just conquer the Narn. They're going to level the Narn homeworld, wipe them off the map. And Londo step by step is like, wait, hold on, no, we can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. He said, but we have treaties. There's and stuff like that. And Rifa goes, mere ink on paper.
The first part of that, actually, what they intercepted Narn transmissions saying they were
Oh,
going to attack the Centauri supply line.
okay. So that's why I was like, oh, it's a pale moonlight gambit or the Zimmerman letters. Uh,
So what he's proposing is that they go attack the Narn homeworld, and Londo brings in his associates to protect their supply line.
Associate being the discount Rod Sterling
Yes,
and the Shadow Spiders.
that's it.
And Londo quite lamentably agrees, and he says, "This is it last time, though. Never again."
He's not
And
happy about it.
oh, furious. And Rifa says, "After this time, there won't need to be another time. The Narn will be wiped off the face of the earth, so to speak." And and that's disappointing because Londo is showing that he's willing to capitulate. And the thing with capitulating is that you keep saying it's last time, last time, last time, but all that's happening is that you're agreeing to worse and worse atrocities. So it's good to see Londo pushing back at least a little bit instead of going along with them, but he's still not there yet. Unfortunately, we're missing the truly most important character in Babylon 5. Not Kefir. The one that I actually think is one of the most important characters. Uh
Oh,
Veer.
oh, fear. Yes, yes.
That's right, Thomas. He was the hologram that Captain Chad with. Yes, I do remember his voice from Sequest. And and unlike Jakar, who's going to be staying on Babylon 5 because of how important his position there is, Londo is going with Rifa to destroy the Narn homeworld. I almost wish it had been Londo coming in at this moment and seeing all the refugees. I feel like he's at the point where such a visual indicator or a visual sight of, like, yes, this is the people you're at war with, but this is the ravages being acted out on them, really would have been impactful to him. And so the good doctor, Dr. Franklin, has asked Jakar to come down to relay some information. He says that it's been unusual. The one of the Narn were captured by Centauri and said that they were insistent asking about the defense of the homeworld. And Jakar's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. And he goes, no, no, you're not understanding. They were unusually insistent about it.
Yes, Thomas. Good doctor. Very important. This is very good, strong scene for Dr. Franklin, who he's had quite a few of them recently. No, Josh.
And so the Dr. Franklin continues to relay that the Narn cruised right past Mars. Is that what he was trying to describe?
Sorry?
And Io? I thought he was saying something about how they saw the Narn, or not the Narn, the
Yes.
Centauri.
It was actually the Minbari bypassed important colonies on the way to Earth. They went directly to Earth during the war. The Earth Minbari War.
Yes. What was the phrase she just used? I missed it.
Absolutely, fracking.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
And then she said, "I just want to try some of your Earth language."
She's been studying, she said. Absolutely, fraglin-lutely, damn it.
Some colorful metaphors there.
Yes.
Jakar is making a passion please, go back, listen, this doesn't make any sense. And unfortunately, Morgan is no, we're too far along. It can't be stopped at this point. And Jarl is saying, you've changed. Right back at you, good buddy. So Jarl says, I've been watching you since you came here. At first, I wasn't sure about you, but your decisions have been wise, and your patience far greater than mine. Well, thank you. I wasn't finished. That's weird. He talks about some Deland character, but I'm not familiar with that name. Uh, but
I think he's a little confused.
maybe some
All
sort of
that
pet
power from
name.
the great, well, all that power going through him from the great machine. Yeah, he gets things a little confused at times. I think he means Dolores.
That makes sense because he talked about how she had told him about the coming of the night, the coming darkness. And so he's saying, a year ago, I've seen enough. A year ago, I said this place had to remain untouched until the time was right. And the time is now right. And so he's proposing some sort of alliance. ASK Roberts, it is a wonderfully boisterous performance.
Ooh,
Hi, that's the name of the episode.
it is. I'm sure he put a comma in there as he was saying it.
Oh, I heard it. He's really going for that deep register as he talks, and you can hear the comma, boom, fall into place where it belongs.
Exactly. I agree, Omni. These are fantastic visuals.
Okay, the red and the black color scheme, that's the Narn ships?
Yes.
Yeah, and the music.
There they are.
Place my bets on what happens. I'm thinking shadow spiders and the fleet decimated. In the true sense of the word, 10% left at the end of this. And so they're stuck there until the jump engines recharge. So while the big ships can create their own jump gates, it's not an instantaneous thing, which is quite a bit different from traditional faster than light sci-fi tropes. Ew, baby spiders. That's the worst.
Yeah.
No, Trevor Lauren, decimated. That's off. It doesn't mean 90% left. It means 90% destroyed. I'm pretty sure. I had this backward all these years. I wouldn't put it past me. See, to destroy or kill a large part of a group or people. That'd be way more than.
Oof.
I like the split here with Jakar fervently praying for them, and they're still just being completely destroyed. And Trevor Lauren is saying it comes from a Roman punishment where 1 in 10 people was executed. See, okay, so I understood the Desi part, but I thought it was the exact opposite, where
Ooh.
only 10% was left.
No, he is correct.
I stand corrected. And that's a cool weapon. So even as they are in the process of fleeing, the shadow spiders were able to disrupt the jump gate and cause it to become unstable so that as they tried to enter it, it was destroyed. And then all the different ships, it looks like they're merging back together to fly off somewhere.
Well, the one that was injured, so to speak, was picked up by another.
Hmm. And on me, I kind of felt like that too. That Jakar almost seemed to sense the destruction,
Did you
like
notice all the candles?
burned
They all
down.
went out. They all went out by the end of that scene.
Hmm. So it could just be that that was good visual storytelling. That by happenstance, as he's praying for these people, they're going out. But it did seem like they were almost implying a level of mysticism and connection here. Ghost candles, but not that sort of ghost candle, Thomas. He literally did feel a great disturbance in the force. And text is saying that Babylon 5 does frequently toe the line of mysticism.
We got the reference to Valen again.
Wait, there actually is a Zathras? Wait, was Zathras the guy from the Babylon 4 episode?
Yes.
And Kay was explaining further that the etymology of decimate is the punishment, but the contemporary is the total destruction. So yes, I was using it incorrectly the correct way, which yes, that works out. I did mean the 10% left, near total destruction, but honestly, it looks like it wasn't just near total destruction. It looked like it was total destruction. And I appreciate that here on the station, even some of the Centauri looked horrified by what was happening.
Yeah.
Now, okay, unfortunately, even if they are worried, when someone throws a punch at you, you're gonna have a bar scene, a bar fight. And I get the feeling from the way they're talking about how surprised they are that they're using the mass drivers. Um, it's kind of like using nukes on Dune in the Dune mythos universe. But honestly, I'd be more surprised that spacefaring species don't use mass drivers.
Great visual there.
A great hand reaching down. Londo is certainly disgusted about what he's seeing.
Seems so.
Or was a prophecy a great hand reaching down, or was it a sword?
Reaching from the star. Great hand.
and I know the vision we saw uh, was of the Shiloh spiders coming into the atmosphere, but I feel like that moment was very much a fulfillment of that prophecy. And Nami's saying it's a great hand reaching out from the stars, confirming that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That that's a Vietnam line, going
Hmm.
back to the Stone Age.
Okay, so we saw that static interference earlier, uh, and it seemed to be related to Drawl on the planet.
Yeah. This is
So
a different static pattern, I think.
I was gonna say it might just be they're being bombarded from space.
That's it.
And he's saying he doesn't know how much longer he can keep the channel open. So it's definitely more the bombardment issue than uh, Drawl doing anything.
Oh, this is not draw.
Very good use of lighting.
Yeah.
So Jakar is saying that he's been instructed by his government to come to the captain and ask for sanctuary. Okay, I'm honestly on the edge of my seat here. I'm so curious where's Londo is going to go with this. He's he's saying that he's asking the captain to convene the council in non-aligned worlds. And he's saying that the Narn regime has not government. Narn regime has offered complete and unconditional surrender.
Notice the Marcab seat is left.
And so he's saying that this is the requirements that the Centauri are giving for the surrender. And so first the Narn government is disbanded. And he's saying that from this oh wow, from this point on, the death of any Centauri by any Narn will come with the punishment of the death of 500 Narn. And the third thing is that the Narn are gonna or the Centauri are going to elect a puppet government. I'm curious because I was really hoping that Londo would uh, express some sort of remorse, some sort of disagreement with his government. And so the last thing he said is that uh, Jakar has been stripped of his duties. He's no longer the ambassador because the Centauri get to decide who speaks for the Narn people, and he insists that as the last remaining member at large of the Narn ruling class, that Jakar goes back home and face trial immediately, and the humans aren't allowed to sit in on these trials. And uh, Sheridan is saying, "Nope. Just before you got here, Jakar sought asylum." And so all the regret in Londo, it seems to have vanished with victory. And he's demanding that right now Jakar leaves this council. And so he's saying that no dictator, no invader can hold a population by force of arms forever. And so the Centauri learned this lesson once, and we will teach it to them again. And yeah, Texas, there's that hint of regret again. Now it's gone. Jakar is saying, even if it takes us 1,000 years, we will be free.
Great acting from both actors.
And Texas was pointing out that the policy, I think he's talking specifically about the uh, killing 500 in retribution, is one that the brown shirts implemented in Russia, the Russian cities they captured.
Be careful using that word on YouTube. Hmm.
And so
That's a worried look.
yeah, I think okay. So what the newscast was just saying is that the Narn or the Centauri are insisting that they have no plans for expansion beyond reclaiming the Narn homeworld. There's others who have doubt, and it seems like Londo might be one of those people who are kind of filled with doubt.
Well, they've already annexed some minor powers around Narn.
And Sheridan is saying, uh, any resource I have that I can use to help you win back your planet, it's yours. And what was Jakar's response about being at war 24 hours later?
He said the last time he shook somebody's hand like that, 24 hours later, they were at war. He's talking about when he shook Londo's hand.
Hmm. Yeah, Texas, I agree. YouTube is doing the world a disservice. Uh, on how they censor those words.
I agree, Texas,
It
completely.
it's like 1984. The line, "All of history sanitized. There's only the ever present now." Oh, he's made the Rangers.
Yep.
Oh, and I like how it's a mix of seems to be humans and Mbari and gosh.
And Kosh.
and and she's warning that the Great War is almost upon them. Now that the Narn and Centauri conflict is finished, the next wave will come, even an even greater wave. And she's saying that she's handing equal authority over the Rangers to the captain, and she promises to stand by his side. And it's interesting because what they're doing right now is kind of following the three-act structure of storytelling, where season one was kind of this building action, and then you had the inciting incident where we go from kind of world building into the actual second part where things happen, and and now at the end of the second act we're hitting our darkest hour. Right before the real climax comes, the hero, the protagonist, has his darkest moment, like when Obi-Wan is killed and everyone is broken up. So I kind of think season three might be a bit of a maybe third act. But see, I know there's 5 seasons.
There
I
are
know
five
this,
seasons. Yep.
so it can't perfectly follow the three-act structure, but it seems like a little. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. So, Jeff, what were your thoughts about this episode?
Nothing really happened in this episode. Nothing real important. It's a minor episode. We could have
Yeah,
skipped it
yeah,
almost.
yeah. Definitely not going to include it on the rewatch.
No, this was a fantastic episode. Very major things happen in this episode. The captain meets Draw, the end of the Centauri Narn War. The Narn are now subjugated by the Centauri. Um, and we hear of the growing darkness that is coming yet after this minor war, something bigger. Very important episode. Very good one. Very well done. The effects, which took a month to produce, the effects in this episode took a month, and it's the most effects they've done in the series up to this point. They were extremely well done. I thought they still hold up very well despite advancements in computers. I
Yeah.
could watch that. I could watch that all day.
Oh yeah. There's a one scene when Drawls he went away, and then Sheridan's like, "Wait, wait, come back," and he comes back. There's that one moment I'm like, I feel like this is CGI, but it was so well done that I honestly had to stop and think about it to figure out if it was just a kind of a hard overlay where they're bringing the actor back in focus, or if it was CGI. I'm impressed that they got that. And then of course
Yeah.
the space battle, fantastic.
And like Omni says, the colors are just amazing in those space scenes. The nebula in the background, it was just very vibrant, very,
Yeah.
very colorful.
Yeah.
And we see Londo. Um, he's struggling with what's going on. He's starting to have doubts, I think. We've seen his conflict with Rifa, and I think that's growing. Great acting from him, Peter Jurasik, and Jakar. I can't remember his name now.
Because you're hanging out with
Help
me
me
too
out.
much.
Probably. Andreas Casillas. Just a fantastic episode.
It really was. Just in terms of moving the plot forward, incredibly important episode. I almost got the feeling that Droll had moved too late. Like Droll was starting to talk about um, building up an alliance with, I finally decided to reach out to you. Let's form this alliance and fight together. And even as he was saying, let's be proactive, it was already too late. The proactive moment had passed them by, and now they didn't have time to plan anything. He had to run back to the station.
Well, I don't think he was too concerned about the Narn Centauri war. I think he was more concerned with what's coming.
Mm-hmm. I mean, true. It just seemed like the old saying, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of something," or "Stitch in time saves nine."
Now, did you notice
An ounce
that
of prevention.
Draw also stated that he's aware of what Sheridan is doing with the command crew and the
Yes.
fight against the Earth, the Earth government? Because Sheridan got all concerned that he was going to tell on him.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't
So
sure
those
if you caught that.
Yeah, he was mentioning how he hears things all over, and he was aware of Sheridan's doings. I did catch that.
And Josh Street, I agree with you. Matthew was very close in his prediction this month, or this
Month.
week, rather.
And it's an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Okay.
That's the full quote. And
I had reason forever, so I couldn't remember how it went.
so was I actually close?
I thought you were. I thought you were pretty close.
It was somewhat Jakar centric. He was
It
facing
was.
a spiritual, and this is what okay. So it wasn't strictly spiritual, but I like how they've worked Jakar's faith so predominantly into who he is, such that even though he was facing a very political moment, it was also a spiritual moment for him, as he was praying for people that he knew was going into a trap. And then the quasi mysticism they did with it, where the candles were going out, it really made you wonder if this was just symbolic, or if he really was somehow through his spirituality, like having these moments happen where as he's praying he's getting a response back.
According to JMS, that's not what was intended. It was just symbolic. What's
Just
going on
symbolic.
in the others? Yeah,
Okay.
in the battle. Jakar got no indication how the battle was going or what was going on. He was just praying, and the scene was filmed in a way to mirror the battle.
Okay. Which makes sense. I accept that. I love that the way it was shot, it did something beyond his intent. Like he,
And yeah, sorry.
like the fact that he just wanted to be symbolic and he nailed it so well of it being symbolic that everyone assumed it was even more so than he intended. I feel like
Right.
it hit the nail even harder than he thought he was trying to do, you know?
And speaking of that, Omni is saying that last week your prediction was really spot on too with Talia. So that's 2 in a row, Matthew.
All right. All right.
You're doing very well.
Wow. Just gonna pat my back
Yeah,
there.
just pat yourself on the back. You deserve it.
Let's see if I can actually get a hat trick. That'd be amazing.
Oh, ooh, can we do that?
And I'm sure for the record that Kiefer was in the background of the Rangers. He's been the one doing all the
you mean
legwork,
Keffer?
I'm sure. Yeah,
Keffer?
Yeah.
Keffer. Okay. Yeah, he probably was. He probably brought all those people together.
Yeah.
Got them to be Rangers.
Going behind enemy lines.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was also interesting that Zathras was mentioned again.
No one listened to Zathras.
Never around when you need him. So very interesting that Drawl is aware of him, which honestly makes me wonder if this is our timeline now, Zathras. Like I'm assuming it is because if I recall correctly, Zathras knew he was on a one-way trip.
Yes, he did.
That the mission was so important he was willing to lay down his life for it. Is how I'm pretty sure that went down. I don't think he lived.
Oh, we don't know for sure.
We don't. So it could be that version that we've already seen. But I suspect that this is going to be his first introduction to us, even though we've seen a future version of him.
So a little wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff going on, huh? Oh,
exactly.
Almost lost your headset.
I did. Gosh, what else happened in this episode? Everything else happened in this episode. The conclusion, quote unquote, of the Narn Centauri War.
Yep.
And now I'm sure we'll start to get guerrilla warfare going on. Resistance cells.
Possibly. We saw new abilities of the shadow vessels.
The baby spiders, yes, disgusting.
The baby spider, the disruption of a jump point.
Amazing. That was I enjoyed that piece of tech. It's one of those things where they're so advanced, it makes sense that they have that level of control. But to see them actually pull something like that out was really cool.
Something else we saw was a Narn vessel get damaged or injured. They seem to be organic.
The Narn vessel?
I'm sorry, shadow vessel.
Okay, yeah. Which
and the two linked together at the end. The healthy one came down and merged with the damaged one.
Mm-hmm. It does make sense that the Narn vessel, or no, I'm saying it, the Shadow Spider's vessel would be organic. Because it seems like Kosh's ship is organic. We know it is. But it seems like they're writing it such that you hit a level of advancement, and one of those levels involves organic ships.
It would seem so. At least we have these two examples of that.
Yeah.
But how did the Narn damage the shadow vessel? And is there some clue in that on how to defeat them, maybe?
It looked like they had shot off some sort of energy pulse bomb thing. Kind of like a space depth charge.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
So at the conclusion of this episode, you have 4 of the 5 major races, not counting the shadows here, that seem to be in some internal stress. You have the Earth Alliance; they're being
Okay.
introspective, and they seem to have a corrupt government. The
Not to
Minbari,
mention you have all the Psycor.
Psycor, which seems to be driving a lot of this.
Yeah.
You have the Minbari. They have this prophecy, and most of them seem very skeptical of it. They don't want to believe it. They seem divided. And in fact, they've had the Gray Council get divided. It used to be 3-3-3 workers, warriors, and I
Priests.
can't think tonight, and the religious caste.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's only 2 in the religious caste on the council, and 4 warriors. So you got some division going on there. The Centauri, they're being extremely warlike, and maybe they're overextending themselves. They've taken on Narn. Now they're starting to take on these minor powers around Narn. And what are their ambitions? Are they going to go further? And of course, the Narn themselves, they're occupied. Yeah, the only ones that don't seem to have the internal stress are the Vorlons.
Okay. And honestly, we don't know enough about them to know what their internal government structure is even doing.
That's true. We don't know much about them at all, really.
And Gorilla,
Also,
if I get 3 weeks in a row right, you might want to buy a lottery ticket.
did you notice Londo's cough in the council meeting?
I did. It was
Uh,
strange.
it sounded very reminiscent of the cough he had in the dream, his dream.
The vision of Jakar killing him,
Yeah,
or
before that, yeah,
yeah,
when he's sitting on the throne, the emperor's throne.
interesting. It makes you wonder if it's a more psychological than physiological,
Perhaps.
or if there's something about the use of those mass drivers that damages the body.
Hmm.
Like honestly, my first thought would be it's more psychological, kind of going to the quasi mysticism that we're seeing here. But it would, on a more practical level, make sense that the use of such weapons is damaging to the people who use them as well as the people who they're used on. Kind of like nuclear weapons. You're too close by, and you're gonna get a heavy dose. Nah, Londo just says space COVID. That could be it. That could be it.
Now, I mentioned it during the stream, but I don't know if you caught it. Did you notice in the council meeting there was an empty seat still left for the Marcab?
I didn't notice it until you pointed it out.
That seat will be empty all the way through the series.
That's
Little
some nice
spoiler there.
continuity.
Little spoiler there, but they keep it.
Like that. Thomas COVID 2258.
Another tidbit about this episode: it aired almost exactly 50 years to the day in the United Kingdom after the Hiroshima atomic bombing, which there's
Hmm.
some interesting parallels here with the mass drivers bombing the Narn homeworld.
Mm-hmm.
Bad, Jeff, bad. What did I do?
I don't know.
Thomas, you're going to have to be more specific.
Now, was that? Do you know if that was intentional? The uh, parallel.
I think they knew roughly when that was going to be aired over there. In fact, it aired over there before it aired in the United States. It's just a weird way that they scheduled it in the UK. I did a well, okay, it was a minor spoiler, Thomas.
It's a spoiler that
It's
doesn't spoil anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a cheap trick that the Doctor does with the tie.
Exactly. I see
Yeah,
that reference.
I knew you would. I knew you would. But it was written in a way to, refer back to World War II and the atomic bombing.
Hmm.
I don't know if they knew at the time that was going to air about that time in the UK or not, but that might have been a fortunate or unfortunate happenstance. I don't know. But the episode was written deliberately to refer back to World War II.
Okay. Hmm.
The Long Twilight Struggle, the title, it goes back to a JFK quote.
Okay.
And it's a long one. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, through arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though in battle we are, but as a call to bear the burdens of a long twilight struggle. Year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. JFK.
I'm gonna need you to do the voice though.
I can't do the voice. Sorry.
Interesting. And it's interesting because on the one hand, you had the long Twilight struggle being a reference to how they've been resisting the shadow spiders uh, for thousands of years, but also on a more immediate level, it can be talking about the Narn and the fact that they are once again entering the long Twilight struggle for their freedom.
Yeah, I see both ways there. It seems that Mr. Garibaldi, he wasn't in this episode too much, but he had an important scene toward the end with Londo. The two of them had a friendship going, and he didn't seem too happy with Londo.
Yeah, so that was the one thing. Like they're gonna go somewhere with this, so I'm not overly disappointed. But I was disappointed in that victory. He came back different. Uh,
Yeah, he did.
and I really wanted us to get some sort of hand gesture, some sort of nod, some sort of wink, anything, um, such that we knew that Londo was struggling and wasn't supporting the very things he was being forced to read out. Uh, almost so like as he's reading this, I almost wish he would have like been hesitant at one point instead of very much like, no, the Earth will not be viewing these trials. They are only going to be conducted with the Narn and with the Centauri. We demand immediately that Jakar leaves. Not taking no for an answer. It just seems so dynamically opposed to what we saw all the way up prior to that moment. Um, it's so different. You'd almost think he'd been replaced, but the fact that tying that coffin with the vision he had, the fact that Londo did have that vision of his own death, he wouldn't have a vision of some doppelganger's death. Like that wouldn't make sense. Like it's him.
That's
Um,
true. And he may feel that he's on this road now. There's no way to turn off the road.
if
The events are in motion and he has to play it out.
if only Veer had been here.
Veer
Just
is his
like
conscience for
he
sure.
is. Just like Zatharis, when the universe needed him, where was he? Never around when you need him.
Oh, Zathras.
Zathras.
Zathras. Thomas says it's been a long road.
Getting from here to there.
Yeah.
Well, excellent, excellent episode all around. It's hard to wait another week, but a week and a day we shall wait
In a
indeed.
day.
So if you missed this at the beginning of the stream, let me just say it again. Uh, Next week we're moving the stream to Tuesday nights, and that's where we're going to be from now on. So hopefully you saw either the beginning or this announcement, so that on Monday you're not too disappointed. But for that next week, we are going to be going over episode 21, Comes the Inquisitor. Now, I know for a fact that no one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition, so this will not be that Inquisitor. Would Zathras be coming back? Who would be inquisitioned? So there's a lot of good ways we can go with this. The phrase "comes the Inquisitor," it could have a very literal application where maybe a literal Inquisitor is coming to literally put one of our people on the judgment stand, that they're questioning how they could have let things get this out of control. And to that end, it seems like it would make the most sense for the Inquisitor to be someone related to Sheridan, that Sheridan would be on the stand. But we kind of had a moment with Sheridan already. You know, it was back in the episode where the Mbari guy tried to frame him. So I don't think it would make much sense for him to be on the stand. It could be more figurative, where they're saying that, you know, now the consequences for the actions are coming upon us. And to that end, it almost make a lot of sense for next week to be a Londo-centric episode. I know that we got a bit of that today, but I think picking up and seeing how he is now dealing with the ramifications of this, I think would make a lot of sense. In fact, so I'm going to lock in my guess here. So I've kind of talked some things out. This is what I'm going to guess. Next week, Londo is dealing with his guilt over what's going on. And everywhere he's going to be turning on the station, he's going to be seeing the ramifications of the war and ramifications of using the mass driver, and that is going to be weighing on him more and more throughout the episode. And I'm going to make a real bold guess here. Real bold guess. I think at the end of the episode, he's going to have a repentance moment, but it's going to be too late. I think that we might get an appearance from Discount Rod Sterling. I think he is possibly going to take on the role of that Inquisitor by the end of the episode, whereas as Londo is trying to now come toward a state of repentance, I think the bill is going to come due between him and Rod Sterling. So that's where I think that we're gonna leave things off next week. That just like at the end of season 1, you had that crossroads moment and you missed it. I think we're gonna get kind of a repeating of that. That Londo now is gonna be at that crossroad moments where he's ready to make the right choice, but he's gonna miss it. That's my guess for next week. And we'll see.
It sounds good to me.
Will I get the hat trick? Will I get anything enough right for me to bend this and say this counts as a hat trick? And then, of course, Kiefer will show up and he'll save the day. He will defeat Rod Sterling. He will have mastered something in hyperspace, and because of all that time he spent away, he'll zoom in and save us all. But we will have to wait a week and a day to find out just how right I am.
Exciting. I can't wait.
So everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we will be going over Season 2, Episode 21, Come the Inquisitor. Y'all take care.
Have a good week, everyone.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.